For Rosemary, the process starts even before she begins the program. She talks to her chair and decides to put herself forward, and she's slightly nervous. It's been a while since she's done any formal personal development work, but she's also conscious of what she describes as a need to up her game, as in NED. TCS is only one aspect for her trust of some major changes on the horizon. For Rosemary, the prospect of all this change has created a sense of inertia and even of fear. She's not sure she or her board are up to the challenge, and she's tempted by the mantra of sticking to the knitting, except that she knows that it isn't going to get the trust where it needs to be. Crucially, this initial discussion with the chair kicks off Rosemary's thinking about what she hopes the programme will achieve, for her and for the trust. Rosemary will come out of the assessment process with a fairly detailed understanding of how she measures against LF competencies and what outcomes she wants to achieve. And this is the basis of the self-managed learning approach, an innovative methodology which underpins the programme design. Rosemary is in the best place to decide what her learning needs are and how best to meet them, and she has to be able to do that in the context of some fairly searching conversations with herself, with her board, with peers. She'll do this by deciding which of the elements of the programme she wants to pursue, so that although it won't be a completely bespoke offering, with some elements being vital for everyone, there is a sense in which the programme can be tailored to meet her needs. Conversations continue at the launch event, where Rosemary will become a member of the co-consulting group. That group is going to meet 2 or 3 times throughout the programme, and their initial discussions at the launch are about the challenges each of them is bringing to work on in the group. So already Rosemary is working on a real issue, which for her is focused on her role in supporting a thriving and strong membership at the Trust. Rosemary is going to the first overview workshop with a clearer idea than she started with of where her knowledge and skills gaps are and what she can do to build her competence and her confidence, so she's already thinking more strategically. The overview workshops are going to provide some new knowledge, some opportunity to learn new skills, and a chance to put these into practice. The specific eye-opener for Rosemary here is the experience-based co-design session, where her conversations with the service user led her to set up a meeting with her Director of Nursing about how her trust is using patient experience measures in quality reporting. Rosemary has invested 3 days in the programme since the launch event, and she is already seeing an impact. Based on a conversation with a co-consulting group colleague, she has discussed with her Director of OD the need for a much more rigorous communication and engagement strategy, and she is supporting a proposal to the board on this. She has decided to attend 2 of the masterclasses, one on NHS finance and one on the NHS policy context. The key outcome for Rosemary is that she is much more confident in her understanding how funding is flowing from commissioner to provider and how the strategic picture is changing nationally and more locally. What that means in practice is that she has a better sense of why the Director of Finance is recommending the Trust doesn't retender for a drug and alcohol treatment service, which is something she hadn't really understood till now, and so had more or less abstained from discussion on the issue. Rosemary decides to attend a simulation event on aligning people, processes and strategy. It's a large session drawing participants from across the region, and Rosemary comments, "It's the first time I've been in a room with directors from the big acute trust and really felt we were working positively together." The simulation event uses smart speed technology to capture, in real time, outputs from the different groups working together. Rosemary can share this with others so that her organisation and the system benefits from the sharing of knowledge in the room. As well, Rosemary isn't constrained by the feeling that she isn't an expert on the issues they've been debating. The outputs are stored in collaboration rooms, which Rosemary will come back to in a day or so and see what has been added, so that this conversation continues long after she has left the event. The opportunity to partner leads Rosemary to sign up for a community of practice session on partnering strategies so that she can learn from and share her own ideas with colleagues from similar trusts. She has had 2 meetings of her co-consulting group and they've decided to continue meeting because that process is providing some discipline and structure for them all in addressing the work-based challenges they brought to the group initially. What is Rosemary's Trust getting by sponsoring Rosemary to attend the programme? They're getting, at an individual level, a more confident and aware NED capable of articulating Trust's strategic direction and of offering thoughtful and informed challenge at board meetings. As well as increasing the levels of assurance at board meetings, this is also having a domino effect on the way the board operates. They are getting ideas about improvements from the learning shared between Rosemary and other participants, and they're getting some reassurance that in certain areas, engagement with members for example, they're ahead of the curve. In particular, the Director of Nursing now has a critical friend on the board who understands the directions he is proposing around quality and patient engagement, and who can offer support and crucially sanity check his proposals before they go to full board. There will be 60 people like Rosemary on this programme, all with differing needs in terms of personal development, in trusts that are at different stages of organisational development, and in a system that is changing as we speak. This programme will create the forums they need to have the conversations with peers across the east of England, and to generate a climate for productive and positive change. So that instead of people like Rosemary feeling the fear and sticking to the knitting, to confuse 2 metaphors, they're getting on with shaping the business of healthcare.